Good morning and welcome to the Yorkshire Dales National Park. I've come here today to attempt the Yorkshire Three Peaks Challenge. This is a 24.5 mile walk, an ascent of over 5,300 feet, and I'm going to climb the three highest peaks in Yorkshire, Whernside, Ingleborough and Pen-y-ghent. Now, I've walked up Whernside before, Ingleborough and Pen-y-ghent. I think this is my first time hiking up there. This is a very well-known challenge walk. The challenge is to do it within 12 hours. 12 hours. I'm hoping to do it in much less than that. I'm aiming hopefully for 9 hours. I'm by myself today. No dog with me today. She's been staying with my parents. I'm actually planning to pick her up later on today. But I've always wanted to do this challenge, and as we have this amazing weather at the moment, I thought what a great day to do it, and the views are spectacular. Lots of people do this as a sponsored walk. Lots of people take part in this challenge, often doing it with groups. There's often, I think, particular days where you find lots and lots of people attempting it, but I thought no, I want to go out there and do this walk myself. And lots of people start in, I think it's called Horton-in-Ribblesdale. I may have mispronounced that, but I'm actually starting this walk at the iconic Ribblehead Viaduct. So here we have the Ribblehead Viaduct, iconic structure here on the Settle and Carlisle Railway. And the Settle Carlisle Railway almost closed because the Ribblehead Viaduct needed a lot of money spending on it to restore it, but fortunately the money was raised thanks to a Conservative politician called Michael Portillo. I think he was a Transport Secretary at the time, but he actually said that this was one of his greatest achievements as a Conservative MP. Saving the Settle Carlisle Railway. Michael Portillo is a well-known rail enthusiast. But yes, this viaduct is an impressive structure, and you may not guess it looking at the scenery today, but all around here hundreds and hundreds of navvies, maybe thousands of navvies, lived for a number of years as they constructed this iconic structure. So there was a whole navvy town all around here, and if you look carefully you can sort of make out some of the signs of where the houses used to be, but as I say, hard to imagine it now. There are some information boards along the route, and this is the Ribblehead Locomotive Depot and Brickworks, and it says from 1869 hundreds of people came to this remote place to work on the construction of this section of the Settle Carlisle Railway, and immediately in front of me was a locomotive inspection pit, and if you look carefully apparently you can just make out the long shallow pit. And the town that was constructed here, the shanty town, navvy town for the people working on the railway, was called Sebastopol, named after the Crimean War siege of 1855. So I wonder if we can see the railway inspection pit. To be totally honest, I'm not entirely sure what I'm looking for. Anyway, just seen a sign heading up to Whernside, which is that hill in front of me. It's 4.5 miles to the top of Whernside. I have done this walk before up to Whernside. In fact, I think I've got a video of that on YouTube. But last time I did it, the weather wasn't quite as lovely as it is today. Such a gorgeous morning. It's just gone 9:30 and it's already very warm. Anyway, just to my left you can see Whernside. That's the first peak that I'm heading to today, 736 meters high. And just ahead of me we have Bleemore signal box. Now last time I was here, the house next to it looked abandoned, and I must admit I thought it would make a fantastic spot to live and maybe run a little cafe for walkers. So it'd be interesting to see if anything's happened to it since I was last here. Good view of the Sutton Carlisle line there. So at the moment I'm heading in a northerly direction. Sutton Carlisle Railway gets quite a lot of steam locomotives, but because it's a Friday, I suspect we won't have any today. Possibly tomorrow, Saturday, but I'd have to check online. Bleemore signal box, I think, is the remotest signal box in England. On a day like today, it's a beautiful spot, but in the middle of winter, it can be quite a bleak location. Okay, so you can tell that place unfortunately is still abandoned. Again, such a shame. I'm sure some enterprising person could buy it and at least smarten the building up, even make it into a holiday let, but I think you could do so much with this site. You can see how dry it's been here in the UK by just looking at this river. There's hardly any water in it at all. So just below me you have the entrance to Bleemore Tunnel, and you can actually see which direction the tunnel goes by looking at the hill above it, because you might be able to see at least 3 mounds. They almost look like, you might describe them almost as looking like mini volcanoes, but they're actually air shafts for the tunnel. So the tunnel runs right through the hillside there. And that's looking south towards Ingleborough, which will be our next destination after Whernside. And what I find interesting about this little section here is that this river is actually being carried across the railway line over this little bridge, or I suppose technically you call it a viaduct. So you get another good view of the air shafts there and the footpath that runs between them, which gives you the indication of the direction of the tunnel. So there we have a view down to Ribblehead Viaduct down in the valley. Above it Ingleborough, and to the left Pen-y-ghent, and as I say, heading towards Whernside. Obviously you do need a map to do this walk, but having said that, the route is very well signposted as well. Yorkshire Three Peaks, 1 3/4 miles to Whernside. The first frog spawn of spring that I've seen. So I've made it to the summit of Whernside, 4.2 miles from the car, and I've done it in about, just over 1.5 hours. I'm just going to stop here for a few minutes, take in the view, but also I need to take this top off. I'm so warm, not complaining about that at all. In fact, last time I was here, this hill was in cloud. It was cold, it was blowing a bit of a gale. We were putting on jackets, and actually as we dropped down Whernside, it started raining, so quite a contrast to what it was like last time I was here. So that's Whernside ticked off, and I'm now heading down the hill to Ingleborough. Ingleborough is probably one of the most distinctive summits here in Yorkshire. You can see it from many miles around. So making some pretty good progress. I'll decide a little bit later when I'm going to stop and have some lunch. Possibly at the top of Ingleborough. Let's see how I'm getting on. So there's another view of Whernside, which I've just come down. So we've got the Old Hill Inn, dated AD 1615, but it's closed at the moment. I don't know if it's permanently closed or will be open later today. Anyway, just keep going. Wasn't planning to stop just yet anyway. Ingleborough, 2.5 miles. There's a sign here warning of the danger of fire. Again, because it's been so dry. But just down here, look at this. This is what really annoys me and upsets me. Rubbish. Just thrown away, discarded. I was going to say something about what I think about people who discard rubbish, but I better not, because it won't be nice. Anyway, Ingleborough is, as I think I said earlier, one of the most striking of the hills. It also looks like it might be quite a steep climb, this one. Lovely limestone pavement here on the path leading up to Ingleborough, and I must admit I'm enjoying this path even more than Whernside. Just a very dramatic vista. You see the cliffs dropping down from the summit of Ingleborough. So just come across this I think it's a sinkhole, limestone sinkhole, and if my geology is correct, what's happened is that there's caves underneath here, and as they're being eroded away, it's all collapsed in on itself, leaving this large crater. At least I think that's what's happened. I'm sure someone with better knowledge than me will be able to confirm that, but that's quite an impressive sinkhole. So the footpath up to Ingleborough is a steady climb along this rather nice stone path, but I've now got to the challenging bit, which is, don't know if you can see up there because I'm sort of looking directly into the sun, but the footpath goes all the way up the hill. You might just be able to make out people coming down. Again, it's a well laid out path, but it's just steep. And then once I'm there, I walk along the ridge a little way to the summit, which you can't see from here, but sort of just up there. Anyway, let's get on with it. So welcome to the summit of Ingleborough, 724 metres high. It's actually slightly lower than Whernside. Whernside, I believe, is the highest peak on the Three Peaks. And I've just done over 10 miles and it's taken me just under 4 hours to get to this point. So making good progress, just one more peak after this. I must admit, really interesting way up here. Definitely recommending Ingleborough if you're looking at a hill to climb. Anyway, we've got the trig point here, and I'm just going to stop and have a bit of a rest and have some food. Come on, girls. On the top of Ingleborough, you've got these mounds, and apparently for quite some time there was a fort that there used to be an ancient hill fort on the top of Ingleborough, but more recently archaeologists think that these mounds might have some sort of ceremonial function and possibly date back to 3000 BC, so they're not entirely sure what these mounds were used for, but as I say, the thinking at the moment is probably ceremonial in purpose. And as you can see, quite a few people up here at Ingleborough, popular little hill to climb. Anyway, dropping down now to Horton-in-Ribblesdale and then the final hill, Pen-y-ghent. So looking down the way I've climbed, so started the walk just down by Ribblehead Viaduct, you can probably just make that out, and then climbed up Whernside over there, and then down Whernside and up here to Ingleborough. Anyway, and now we're heading over to Pen-y-ghent, which is in that direction. So I've done just over 10 miles, so I still have 14 miles to go, so we're not even halfway in terms of mileage, but making reasonable progress. Having said that, I've seen quite a number of people jogging, fell running maybe I should say, and they sort of put me to shame watching them power past me. So finally made it to Horton-in-Ribblesdale. It's been a very long walk from Ingleborough, and I must admit I'm feeling quite tired now, but still got about 8-9 miles still left to go. But anyway, this is the railway station, and I think technically the Yorkshire Three Peaks starts and finishes in this village. And of course, because it starts and finishes here, you can use the train to get here. It was something I had considered doing previously, but decided instead to drive. The stations along the Settle Carlisle Railway are lovely. Now I'm hoping there's a cafe here so I can get a drink. Looks like they're installing lifts here as well. But lovely little station. And that's Pen-y-ghent in the distance. Okay, looks like the cafe might be open, so I'll go and check that out. Okay, that was a nice little stop. I think that cafe is only open on Fridays and Saturdays though, but fortunately, being a Friday, I was able to make use of it, and yeah, really glad I did. Just nice to rest my feet, get a drink, cold drink, use the facilities. Anyway, according to my app, I still have 7 hours to do on this walk. I've done 5 hours and I've got 7 hours left. Now, I think I can do it in much quicker time than that. I'm certainly hoping I can do it much quicker time than that, because I estimate that if that's correct, I'll finish this walk about 10 p.m. and I certainly don't want to be finished at 10. So we'll see how we get on. Anyway, I've only got the one hill left, Pen-y-ghent, behind me, and about 8 or 9 miles I think to walk. So yeah, just try and knock out those miles. Just walked into the village and there is actually public toilets here as well, and actually just across the road, which you can't see, a pub. I don't know if the pub is open at the moment. So there's another pub here called the Golden Lion. It also has all-day parking, £4 for Three Peaks walkers. So if you're looking for somewhere else to stop, and it's right opposite the church. I think I might forgo looking in the church today, simply because I want to push on. And that's our destination up there ahead. There are a few places to stay here in Horton, and I think one of the reasons for that is not only is it on the Yorkshire Three Peaks, but it's also on the Pennine Way. So I suspect a lot of people doing the Pennine Way are likely to stop and break their journey here. So a couple of pubs, 1 or 2 little cafes, tea shops, not sure if they're all open. But yeah, a place to rest. You couldn't ask for better weather than today. My only regret is that I didn't wear shorts. I'm wearing lightweight hiking trousers, but even so, I'm so warm. It's like summer, not early April. Anyway, Pen-y-ghent in front of me is looking really beautiful in the afternoon sunshine. Pen-y-ghent sounds more like a Welsh name than a Yorkshire name. I confess I don't know what it actually means, so I'll have to Google that when I get to the top. So I've made it to the summit of Pen-y-ghent, and you can see where I've been walking. So way off in the distance is Whernside, across there is Ingleborough, and as I say, this is Pen-y-ghent. It's hard for me to decide which summit I enjoyed the most. I would have said Ingleborough, but Ingleborough approaching it from Whernside direction. But I must admit, Pen-y-ghent is quite a special mountain hill, and there's a bit of a scramble the last bit coming up, certainly the way I've done it, so coming up from Horton-in-Ribblesdale. But yeah, a bit of a scramble and good fun. But I am starting to feel a little bit weary, a little bit tired. The good news is basically it's all the way downhill from here. So I'm heading in the direction of the Ribblehead Viaduct, which probably can't see in the camera, but I can just make out. I think that's another 5-6 miles. But anyway, being level, heading down, should hopefully make it in fairly good time. It's about 5 o'clock now, and I've got 6, 7, about 3 more hours of daylight, I think. So no problem getting back to the car before dusk. So I'm delighted to see the car finally. I must admit, I'm tired. I'm ready for a rest. If you're interested in the statistics, I've walked 26 miles today. Elevation, not sure about, but it's over 5,000 feet. And I've been walking for 9 hours and 40 minutes. So that's moving time. So I've been out longer, but 9 hours, 40 minutes on the go. And frankly, I'm pretty pooped. So really pleased to be back at the car.